How to deal with envy from unknown people. How to deal with envy from strangers. Have you ever had an interaction with someone and suddenly the vibe felt very off? You're not quite sure what happened, just the vibe felt very off. Envy can oftentimes come from unexpected places, from unexpected people, people you barely know. When people are envious of other people, oftentimes you will hear them say, when they're envious of people they barely know, you will often hear them say things like, I just don't like her. I don't know, it's something about her I just don't like. When a person who barely knows you, or a person who does not know you at all, suddenly develops envy toward you, they will say things like, I just don't like her, the vibe is off, her spirit don't sit right with me. These are the different things that you will hear, or the different statements you will hear, especially from envious and or jealous women when they don't know you and they suddenly don't like you. It's because they're envious of you. How can one be envious of a person they do not know? What it all boils down to is, number one, perception. When people perceive you in a way that you are not, they can grow in envy toward you. You often see this with women. Women automatically assume, not all women, but women who are easily triggered, threatened, and or jealous and envious of other women will grow envious of women they do not know. And they do that based on perception. What is perception, number one? When somebody perceives you in a different way, it's based on that first interaction and their first impression of you. So when a woman first meets you, or anybody in general, but I'm going to speak about women when it comes to envy. When a woman first meets you and she sees you, you're beautiful, you're well-spoken, you're kind, you might represent all of the things that she is lacking in. And because her perception combined with her insecurity has kicked in, now she grows envious of you. You might not have ever seen that woman before in your life. It might have been your first interaction with her. You met her at a networking event, you met her at school, you met her at church, you met her in the store, and suddenly she just doesn't like you. Now you hear that she's talking about you and you don't even know her. Another example of somebody's perception of you can also be based on other people's perception of you. When a person you do not know is envious of you, when you are dealing with envy from strangers, it will often be because of the perception other people have of you. You see this often between women who are similar in nature, but aren't given the same opportunities. Women who are envious of other women they do not know, they sit back and wonder, how can a woman like her, she's similar to me, we have the same skill set, we move around in the same social circles, and yet they're giving her all this praise and recognition. Yet they're acknowledging her in this. How can she afford a house like that even though we work in the same workplace? How can she have a relationship like that when she doesn't look as good as the next person? People who are often envious of other people, they are always sitting back, and people who are envious of other people they do not know, they are often always sitting back wondering, how are you doing what you're doing when you and I are essentially the same type of person? We came from the same background. We have the same type of family dynamic. We work at the same job. How is it that you're able to do these things and I cannot? A person who is envious of you and barely knows you, they will perceive you based on their own situation. They will always, number two, not just the perception, but they always compare themselves to you. Again, they're always trying to figure out how you're able to do something and they cannot. These are people who barely know you. And the dangerous thing about dealing with envy from people who do not know you or barely know you is that they make assumptions about things they do not understand. There are so many women who have dealt with envy and jealousy from strangers, from people who barely know them. They have paid the ultimate price for somebody else's jealousy, insecurity, and envy, all because someone perceived them in a way that they are not. When women look at your outer appearance, when women look at just who you are from the first interaction and decide they don't like you, they are dealing with their own insecurity, and that's why they grow envious of you. You represent something that they are lacking, and that is not your fault. When it comes from people, when envy comes from unknown people, from strangers that you don't know, it can make you feel very confused, very weirded out. It can make you feel as if you've said something wrong or you've done something wrong. Now, don't get me wrong, first impressions matter. So if your first impression gives off the vibe that you're not a decent person, maybe you're mean, maybe you're nasty, what have you. But if you, more times than not for women, the first interaction between a woman who feels insecure in the presence of other women anyway, when she already feels insecure in the presence of other people, other women, when she gets around a woman who represent those things that she either wants, has, or has not been able to attain, she will grow envious of that woman. People think that somebody being envious of you, somebody that you don't know being envious of you, is absolutely impossible. How can somebody be envious of somebody they don't know? It's because they decide to perceive you based on their own insecurity. That's why you have so many women walking around saying, oh, she thinks she's better than somebody else. She's conceited. Oh, she thinks because she has this kind of house, she's better than me. She thinks because she has this kind of car, she's better than me. Some women hate on the things or get jealous and envious of the things about women that they don't understand. Let me sip some of my water. As I explained before, I've been dealing with a lot of dryness and stuffiness because of my allergies. It happens a lot in the summer, so bear with me. But when a woman that you don't know grows envious of you, it's because she assumes things about you that may not be true. See, women have a nasty habit, a bad habit of comparing their situation to the situation of other women. I'm going to go back to the example of the workplace, because oftentimes you will see women who envy other women they don't know, talk nasty, talk bad about them simply because they're assuming things that are not true. A woman that feels bad about her life, a woman who feels like she is not where she wants to be in her life right now, and you all might be in the same age range. Let's say you're 35 and the woman you work with, who seems to be doing really well, have nice car, nice house, you see her pull up to the office every morning in her nice 2024, 2025, what have you. You might be perceiving her, if you're already envious and insecure around other women, they will perceive that woman as somehow being better than them and trying to flex on them. Women who grow envious of women they do not know, people who are envious of people they don't know, or envious of strangers, it's because they see one thing about somebody's life and they assess the entire situation. They might not understand that this woman, she had to work and save a long time before she could get the car that she's driving now. Or they might not understand that she had a lawsuit settlement or something because somebody messed up something with her health. Now she's sick for the rest of her life and she's getting this money because she went through a tough time. See, women who grow envious of other women who they do not know, when people are envious of strangers in general, they overlook the fact that what they're seeing on the surface might not be the entire story. And you see this a lot with social media envy. People who envy and get jealous of people online simply because they're perceiving things in a way that are not true. On the flip side of that, the beautiful thing about people who don't know you being envious of you, it gives you the opportunity to create the image that you want them to see. See, I know this might sound a little off to some people and you don't understand it, but having a clean slate, that's essentially what a person who does not know you but grows envious of you is giving you. You can give them whatever side of you you want them to see. And that's why I always encourage women to be private and don't give out all of your information. But when a person who does not know you assumes things about you, sometimes that shows that you are being a lot private. You're being more private. You're treating your life as sacred. And that's a beautiful thing. I say let people assume whatever they want to assume about you. That's not your job to try and go in and course correct somebody's insecurities. That's insecurities. That's something on the inside that they have to deal with. But when people you don't know are envious of you, you can deal with that from the inside out. You can create the image of yourself that you really want. It's amazing how a woman, she could be struggling so bad in her life. She could be going through her darkest time, and yet she has to deal with a jealous, envious hater at her job, thinking that she thinks she's better than everybody. Meanwhile, you're going through the hardest time of your life possibly, but you have Keisha, Kiki, and all these other people at the job hating on you. It's a very weird dynamic between women who like to be envious and jealous of women they don't know. A lot of women have dealt with bullying and all out, humiliation tactics, all out sabotage from women who perceive them as being something they are not. You could be a very kind woman. You could be a woman who's always willing to help. But because you don't constantly wear a smile on your face, some people might perceive you as being mean, miserable, you're not likable, you're not approachable, you're this, you're that. Women have a way of being able to assess somebody's entire character and personality based on one interaction. That is toxic. But women who grow envious of women they don't know, not only do they do that, but they look for ways to do that. They enjoy doing that. And for those of us who have been the victims of people, of women who are envious of women they do not know, if you're not strong-minded enough as a woman, if you don't have that feminine queen mindset, you will find yourself explaining yourself to complete strangers who took one interaction and assumed your entire life story. That is not something we do as confident, feminine, wise, leveled up women. You do not explain yourself to someone who is bent on misunderstanding you. When a woman is envious of a woman she does not know oftentimes, and she assumes things about you and then begins to compare herself to you, and you hear this and see this, especially if you're in an environment where you don't know the woman, but the woman monitors you. The woman looks at everything you do and she talks about you behind your back. Or she gives you nasty looks, because those are passive aggressive actions of women who are envious of women they do not know. When you are dealing with these kind of things, it can be very exhausting, it can be draining, especially from someone who you do not know. Envy from strangers, envy from people you barely know, sometimes that can feel worse than dealing with envy or jealousy from people you do know. Because at least with people you do know, you feel comfortable oftentimes approaching them on that bad behavior. Or you feel comfortable talking to them about whatever it is they're feeling. But a person you don't know, a person who you just met, or a person you barely know, somebody that's in your office, in your workplace, who constantly monitors and watches you and give you nasty looks and nasty stares and talks under their breath when you walk by and say little things when you walk by. That is the height of envy from a stranger or someone you barely know. In my own experience, I have dealt with women who I do not know. I could speak to them and they just look at me and just roll their eyes, or they always look mean, just those sudden glances. Like, what do they say? If looks could kill? Well, I've dealt with that much in my life, unfortunately. And these are women that you might go out of your way to try to be kind to. You've tried to be cordial with them, as they say. But women who are envious of you, who barely know you, oftentimes they don't want any of that, because you being kind to them will make it hard for them to hate you. Envy from a stranger, from a person or a woman who does not know you, she's already determined in her mind the kind of person you are, and she's comfortable with that. From the first interaction or the way she sees you move around the office without talking to you, she's already assumed you're a flirt, you're a nasty person, you're always trying to get attention, and you think you're better than everybody. This is how women who don't know you, who are envious of you, tend to think. They automatically assume who you are based on their interaction and the vibe they got from you based on their perception and their insecurity. It's a weird feeling, but it's happening every day. Many of you, I'm sure, work in workplaces with women who give you those stares. And let's talk about that, because that's not something that's talked about enough amongst women. Women have this passive aggressive way of trying to make other women feel uncomfortable when they're envious and or jealous of another woman they do not know. These are often your women who you can go to school with for years, you can work with for years. They will come into a room where you are, see you sitting there, and just stare at you. They will sit there and stare at you and try to make you feel as uncomfortable as possible. To me, and this is a little bit of a sidebar because this does have to do with envy, but it also has to do with women who try to, how can I say this? When it comes to that monitoring type of spirit, that intimidation, that demonic wickedness that tries to throw you off and make you feel uncomfortable, unconfident, and unsure, a woman who is envious of another woman that they do not know, envious of a stranger, they will try to use their bad energy to make you feel down, depressed, and bad about yourself simply because they're threatened by you. This is something that happens all the time amongst women, and I believe that more of us need to talk about that, because women who sit back and just stare into the depths of your soul, they just sit back and look at you. They don't say anything, they just stare. Women like that, when they're envious and or jealous of you, they are trying to suck out all of your goodness, all of your positivity, all of your good vibes, good energy, your spirit. They're trying to take that right on out of you with their negativity. And the way I believe, if you don't cover yourself with the armor of God, you will allow that wicked demonic spirit to suck you dry, to drain your energy. Envy from women you do not know, that is not something to be played with. And when somebody is constantly staring in your direction but not saying anything, just looking, I'm not saying they might be daydreaming and then just shake out of it and be like, oh, okay, because I've had that before too, or at least they played it off that way. But a woman who just stares at you, and this happens often, in my opinion, that is very wicked, that is very demonic, and that is somebody that you do not want to deal with. I wouldn't even suggest that you go up against that kind of spirit. And unfortunately, full transparent moment, growing up in the hood, I've dealt with many people like that, where all they do is come around you so they can stare at you, try to intimidate, and make you feel uncomfortable. And when a person you do not know, when you're dealing with envy from strangers, from people you don't know, their goal is to make you feel uncomfortable and make you feel like you don't belong. It's because they feel that they don't belong because you're there. See, envy from people you do not know, it can be hard to spot when you don't recognize the signs, but when you do, what can you do? How do you deal with envy from people you do not know? Number one, if you're able, remove your presence from them. Stop being around people, around monitoring spirits, because I do believe that's a thing. I definitely understand how that is a thing now. I just was not accustomed to that terminology, but that is a thing. Women who sit back and look at you and stare at you, but they want to be in your vicinity and yet not speak or interact with you, that person is monitoring you. And often it's their jealousy and their envy driving them to do so. Especially a woman who does not know you and barely knows you. Somebody you might have worked with for years, but no matter how much you speak, they won't speak to you. You might be in the same class, the same school. They don't speak to you, but they stare at you and just give you looks and passive aggressive actions. That's somebody you want to avoid and stay away from, number one. Number two, people like that, and this might be the unpopular method, but you have to pray about things like that. The way I believe things are spiritual. I don't fight against these demonic things. Like it says, the weapons of our warfare are not, carnal, but they're spiritual. Like these are spiritual things that are happening. And this is in no way preachy. I bring up scripture because I'm a Christian. That's how I believe. I use that to my benefit as I'm supposed to, and I cover myself. I ask God to cover me and help me to be able to deal with people who may be that way. Help me to carry myself in a way where I'm showing that I'm not going to tolerate that kind of thing. And for me, I believe that the power of God on the inside of me is stronger than any demon that tries to come after me. So I don't care if a woman stares at me into the depths of her soul. I will look back and do this all day. I have no problem. And oftentimes they will suddenly look away, or they'll remove their presence, or I'll just get fed up and get tired of it and just leave. Either way, the second way I believe you can cover yourself from envious, jealous people you do not know, stay connected to God. Stay in the spirit. Stay focused on those things that are above and not below. Because when you do that, how can I say this? Let me sip some of my water. When you do that, you'll realize that you're more powerful than they are. See, women who are envious of other women, envious of women they don't know, they don't feel like they have any power. And when you recognize the power you have on the inside of you because of God, you don't let those kind of things get to you. You start understanding that they're coming from a place of brokenness. They're coming from a place of being insecure. They're coming from a place of not understanding how much power they could have as a woman had they not been a hater and look at everybody else in a negative way. And when you realize that, you begin to feel pity toward that person and you just disregard them. So the number two way you can deal with envy and or jealousy from people you do not know, from strangers, you have to stay connected to God, stay focused on spiritual things, and realize that you are covered and there's not anything they can do to you. If anything, people who like to envy you and assume things about you and compare themselves to you, they're doing nothing but making themselves miserable. And that's not your problem. Pray for those people and remove your presence. And the third thing you can do to deal with envy and or jealousy from people you don't know, people you barely know, is to recognize that when people are hurting, they seek to hurt other people. What is envy? Envy is the desire to have a quality, possession, or other desirable attribute belonging to someone else. People who envy your life, envy your happiness, envy your relationship, envy the things you have, they will go to any length to hurt you. Case in point, I came across a TikTok video of a young lady. She found out that her cousin was actually sleeping with her husband. This lady seemed as humble as possible. She seemed so sweet. She seemed so kind. She seemed so gracious. From what I heard, her and her husband had an amazing relationship, and her own cousin messed around with her husband. I don't know all of the details as to why this happened, other than the fact that the cousin was messy and the husband lacked self-control. But I can tell you that this speaks to how some women envy the lives of other women, so much so that they will not stop when it comes to destroying your happiness. Some women are so envious of the happiness of another woman. When she sees you a little bit too happy, a little bit too joyful, a little bit too blessed in your life, she will go out of her way to destroy your happiness. There are some women who get so jealous, relationship jealousy, relationship envy. When they see another woman being loved on, cared for, and taken care of, there are some women who get so envious that they make that man their motivation. They make destroying the happiness in your life their motivation. Why do you think, and this is my opinion, but this is what I believe, some women directly and deliberately go after married men? Some women like to go after the man they think another woman put so much work into, they want to reap the benefit, reap the reward. Some women are so envious of how other women are being taken care of that instead of doing the work or making themselves more appealing or being a decent woman, they want to go after what's yours. Relationship envy is a real thing. That's why I encourage women, no matter what the internet says, no matter how people try to gaslight you into believing as a woman, if you guard what's yours, if you protect your peace, protect your relationship, they try to make you think you're being insecure. But in the day and age that we live in, with women being so envious and so jealous of other women, especially when it comes to relationships, you absolutely have to make sure you safeguard your relationship. Don't allow women around your relationship who you see don't respect your boundaries. How can you tell a woman does not respect your relationship boundaries? And this video is not just about relationships in regards to envy, but that happens to be one of the most triggering points for some bitter, miserable, envious women. They don't like other women being happy, especially when it comes to men and how they are being treated by men. I gave you the story in another video about how a young lady received a gift, a chocolate purse, a chocolate Louis Vuitton purse, and her roommate, a hater, broke the purse and proceeded to eat it. And she knew it was a gift from a man that a woman received for a first date gift. And knowing that, she took it upon herself to touch it and then proceed to eat it. But that further proves the point that some women do not like to see other women happy in regards to their relationship with men. But the number one sign that you can tell a woman is displaying relationship envy when it comes to her boundaries or lack thereof, and she doesn't respect your relationship, is that she's very flirtatious and provocative, especially around your man or around somebody you might be interested in. Women who are envious of other women, envious of the attention they get, envious of the life that they live, they will know that somebody's interested in you, and they will do everything in their power to get the attention off of you and get the focus on them. These are your women who see men eyeing you, see them giving you attention, and she'll be very extra, be extremely flirtatious, be very provocative, try to get that man's attention, being thirsty, as we say, all so that he's not focused on you and he's focused on her. Women who envy the attention that other women get from men, they're normally hypersexual. I'm not going to say the word for YouTube guidelines and all of that, but they're hypersexual, and they actually put themselves out there more so because they don't get attention any other way. Women who are envious of women who get attention, get a lot of attention without doing a lot, low effort in a way. You don't really have to do a lot to get the most. Women like that will absolutely envy the attention you get from men. But let's just talk about envy in general. When somebody envies your life, when they envy happiness, let's make it about that. Because some women, they don't like seeing other women happy. Not in regards to relationships, not in regards to workplace, not in regards to anything. When you have a level of happiness and joy about yourself, There are some women who will envy that. They won't like the idea that you're walking around cheerful for most of the time, that you're smiling all of the time. These are often your women who walk around looking like they've been sucking on sour lemons, and they look at you like you're weird because you dare to smile and to be kind and to treat other people nicely. These are your women that wake up bitter in the morning for absolutely no reason. When they see other women, or when a woman gives them a compliment, these are typically your women who roll their eyes and act like they don't understand why you're being so nice. When they envy your personality, your character, the way you carry yourself as a woman, these women will go out of their way to try to destroy your mood, destroy your workplace, destroy your environment, or destroy your relationship. There are some women, case in point blank period, they don't like seeing other women happy. It's because they're not happy. They wish they could experience the joy that you have in your life, the peace that you have in your life. They wish that they were confident enough to wear the things that you wear and look good in it and get the attention. And you might not be doing things for attention, but because you get it, other women envy that. All because they dare not to do the things you do. People in general, but I speak directly to women, they are typically envious of women who are putting in an effort where they refuse to. So these are your women who don't give any thought, time, or attention to their looks, to their nails, to their, skin, none of those things. And the woman who does, they will hate on her. They will have an attitude with her. They will try to cause issues for you where there is no issues, all because you represent something that they're too lazy to become. And you, once again, might not be thinking of yourself in that way, but because you are naturally like that and they're not, instead of leveling up, they just envy you. They look at you and wish they had what you had or move the way that you move. And instead of getting inspiration and, befriending you and talking to you, these people will just hate on you and try to make life miserable for you. And let's talk about the befriending part. Because women who are envious of other women, they deliberately try to get close to the object of their envy, all so they can destroy you. These are your fake friends. These are your people who act like they're supporting you when really they hate you. These are these women who act like they want to be your friends, but they can't stand you. These are the women who want to be around you just so that they can bring you down. Women like that are normally the ones who always have something negative to say about anything positive that you're doing, anything positive that you're wearing, anything that makes you look nice or feel good. They always have a way of dumping on it. I'll give you an example. Women who are your fake friends, they don't really like you, but they're always trying to be in proximity to you. They're always trying to be close to you. These are your women who will see you. You just got your hair done, just got your nail done, and they're the ones who's saying, oh, I wouldn't pick that color. I don't really like that. Like, it's a cute color, just not for you. That's a nice hairstyle, just not for you. It's like they're in your life to always so-called humble you and bring you back down to earth. Those kind of people are not your friends. People who have more criticism for you than support, they are not your friends. They are haters. They envy the way you move, how you look possibly, what you do, your confidence. And when your confidence is too high, people like that, instead of taking notes, they actually want to discourage you and get you to stop being how you are. They want you to stop being confident. And it's because they're not confident. Instead of you, being the kind of person that is outgoing, optimistic, they would prefer you be the kind of woman who's bitter, miserable, and just act like you have no hope in life because that's how they operate. Instead of being the woman who takes a few minutes in the morning and wash her face and maybe do light makeup and do your hair, they want you to look like you just rolled out of bed, all because it makes them feel comfortable about how they are. See, these are your people who aspire to be how you are, but because they're lazy, because they have that lack of self-esteem, they try to get you to dumb yourself down. People who envy you, they will always, and I mean always, try to get you to dumb yourself down. If you have a diamond, they will try to get you to get silver plated jewelry. If you have gold, they will try to get you to get something that's fake. If you have, something that is really, really nice, they're always trying to tell you that it's too much. You don't need all of that. These are your women who are so envious and jealous that they like to use that reverse psychology on you, where they tell you, oh, you don't need to wear any makeup. You don't need to wear, your hair like that. Your natural hair is really nice. As true as that may be, they know when you put the additives on, or when you wear a certain style, or you wear a certain style of clothing, it amps you up even more. And they don't like that. So they deliberately try to sabotage how you look, all because they're envious of how you carry yourself when you wear certain things. They're envious of the attention you get when you really step out and you just are confident in how you are as a woman. And then I want to touch back on that relationship envy, because a lot of people might not understand or think this is a big deal, but there are people in general, men and women alike, who do not like seeing other people happy. It is some people's mission in life to wipe the smile from your face. It's because they feel like you have no reason to smile. They might look at your circumstances, because envious, jealous haters tend to study your life. They tend to study your moves, and they might be looking around thinking that you have nothing to smile about. You have nothing to be happy about. Look at you. You're not that cute. Why are you smiling? You have some people are really that envious and that wicked and that demonic, in my opinion, that being too happy is seen as a negative. And of course, we all go through things in life, but people who are jealous and envious of other people, they want you to wear struggle like a badge of honor. They want you to wear your struggles, wear your problems, so that they're more comfortable being around you. See, instead of them getting away from you, people who are wicked and envious, they want to get closer so they can try to bring down your energy. And you can't let them do that. Some women, you try to give people the benefit of the doubt so much. And I know as women, especially when you're in your femininity, you're kind, you're gentle, you're soft, you're trying to be nice to all people. You sometimes invite people in by giving them the benefit of the doubt. And back to the original story, this young lady who found out that her husband was cheating on her with her cousin, I'm sure she was the cousin who was always, in the mix of everything, being nice. This is my cousin. You can get whatever you want out the refrigerator. Just let her be in the house when she's not there. I don't know this for certain. This is just what I'm saying, what I'm guessing. But based on her character and the way she was trying to get her cousin to explain to her why she did what she did, really, that was a waste of time, because why do messy people do anything? Because they're messy. But I say that to say that this young lady was so trusting of her family, her cousin, that unfortunately this happened to her. And envious people, they tend to take advantage of the people who they see as naive, as they see, or what they consider as weak. If they feel like you're not deserving of something and that you don't really know how to handle it, because some women, I'm just going to say how it is, they're so shady and so nasty and so envious. Some women will look at your husband, look at your man and say, you don't deserve somebody like that. What do you know what to do with him? Look at me and look at you. You don't deserve him. Yes, there are some women who are like that. I've heard these kind of conversations firsthand. So I know what I'm talking about, where you have some women who look at a woman with a man and say, oh, they don't even look like they should be together. He's too cute for her. And then she starts being overly provocative. And I'm certain, because of the kind-hearted nature of this woman, she probably overlooked the red flags in her messy, disgusting cousin, and she couldn't see what was about to happen. And I'm not saying that she had a say in what was going to happen or not, because people just do what they do. But I'm making the point that envious people, when they believe that you don't deserve what you have, they will try to swoop in and take your kindness for weakness, and they get you comfortable while they go in and sneak around and take what you have. And I hear somebody saying it right now, I am not taking responsibility off of the husband, because discipline and self-control, that is a thing. But some women, and This might not be popular to say, but spiritually, even in the Bible times, in the scripture times, you see how women used that seduction to destroy men, to destroy the lives of other people. And that's unfortunately the reason why a lot of women today get such a bad rap, because this is just a part of the fall from hell, I believe. And some women, they know how to use that seduction for evil, especially when it comes to hurting other women. When they are envious of you, especially with your happiness in your relationship, they will try to make themselves overly flirtatious, overly provocative in order to make themselves more appealing to your man. And if you don't recognize it, they can succeed in it. So when you're dealing with people, and this is how you rectify that, and this is how you kind of safeguard yourself against that. I probably said in another video, but don't keep females right in your mix, and don't share personal details of your relationship. You have some women who are so simple-minded, in my opinion, they actually give their girlfriends all of the details of what their man does to them intimately. That is personal. Don't give women all of that information. Don't give anybody all of that information, because what you're doing, you're piquing their curiosity. Because if you keep telling them about how good your man is, it's only a matter of time before they're going to want to try it and see for themselves. Some women are just messy that way, and they don't have self-control. And then even when it comes to the things that you don't have to hide anything about your life. But women who are truly leveled up and successful, you know how to be low key, because you understand that while you're not hiding your life, you're not ashamed of your life, your success, your blessings. You know that some people are so envious of other people, they don't know how to handle the happiness of other people. And you don't want to set yourself up to be sabotaged by a hater. You don't want to have to deal with the thoughts, opinions, and backhanded compliments and other shady things from envious people. So women who are leveled up and truly are wise, they know how to operate around certain people. No matter if it's friends, no matter if it's family, it doesn't matter. When it comes to women who are truly successful, leveled up, and have wisdom, we understand that blood is thicker than water, but your spirit is thicker than blood. And if somebody is aggravating your spirit, you know how to distance yourself from that person. You don't feel guilty about safeguarding the things that you have, your life, your peace, your relationships, the things that you value. Because people who are envious of you, they don't value anything about you. They don't think you deserve what you have in the first place, so they have no problem destroying it. So ladies, when it comes to this envy and jealousy and these things, especially when it comes to your happiness, you have to make sure that you're not around people or have people surrounding you who get an attitude every time you share something good about your life. Or that you're not around people who get an attitude every time you say that you and your husband, you and your boyfriend, you're doing well. You know, you were able to work out your relationship issues. People who get pissed off because you worked out a relationship issue, these are people who are bitter and miserable and don't want to see you happy. And while your happiness is your responsibility, if you're not mentally and spiritually strong enough, you can let people steal your joy. You can let people discourage you and get you down about your life. And that's the goal. That's the mission of envious, jealous, toxic people. So don't let them do that to you. And on the note of toxic people, have you gotten the book, How to Detox from Toxic People? It's available on Amazon. I'll leave the link in the description box below. Girl on Girl Wars, a book on jealousy and envy amongst women. Get that book. And then How to Be a Feminine Woman, the blueprint, that is also available in the Amazon store. Ladies, protect yourself from envy. Stop giving people the benefit of the doubt, and do not ignore red flags.